This is a Heritage Rough Rider, built along almost the exact same lines as the Colt 45 back in the 1870s, and it comes apart the same way that the old Colt 45 does. I think I'm going to try and demonstrate that. First thing we're going to do is take out the cylinder. So you put it back 2 clicks, which is where you're allowed to turn the cylinder. Push this little button here, pull out the pin, cylinder drops right out. Got this 22 cylinder, and somewhere else, can't remember where exactly, I've got a cylinder that'll take 22 magnets. So here we go. We'll set the cylinder pin, the master pin, off to the side. We're going to close the action, and we're going to start screwdrivering. I'm going to start right here with the grips. This will be an interesting exercise in hoping not to dig up a brand new gun. It's perfectly flawless right now. Set that off to the side, set this off to the side. There's a little pin here that helps you line the grips up. This is your trigger pin. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off five screws that hold the frame to the back band. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the front here. It's a little bit different screw from the other ones. And 5. I'm going to hold this together because there's a spring in there and a detent. See how it's sort of coming apart there? Magnets. Put these in my little dish so I don't drop any on the deck. And we're going to allow this piece to come off here. There should be, oh, there it is. Yeah, the spring here. And there's a detent there. And that holds the loading gate on. So you can see where the loading gate hops back in. And I'll figure that out later. Don't lose no parts. USB tent. Nothing more to do with this, except maybe to wipe the bear grease off of it. This is lubricated. And we'll set that off to the side. Now we have, a lot of folks don't do this, but I want to do it anyway. Take off this screw here. Very similar to most of the other screws. And that allows this whole assembly to come out. This is the ejection rod, ejection spring. And I wanted to take that apart just to basically just to do it. It's a little dirty. I've shot probably all of 6 rounds through this. Through this pistol since I've gotten it. Just don't have the opportunity right now. Set that off to the side, set the spring off to the side, wipe a little grease off. You can see barrels screw into the frames. The barrels are steel. The frames are some sort of alloy. This you can take apart if you want, but there's not much point in it. What we're going to do now is to disassemble the action. And to do so, we're going to take out these 2 screws here. This is the trigger screw. Not quite ready to come out yet. Screw, 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 screw. Here we go. I think. There's the trigger. We're going to do one thing to the trigger while we have it disassembled. We're going to take a stone to this edge right here and smooth it out just a little tiny bit. The action on this is pretty light anyway. It's in the 3.5 pound range if I remember right. This screw here, this holds in the trigger spring. Doink, a little tiny screw. Here's the spring, it's got to go in a certain way. And then finally, hammer spring, the bigger, or the hammer screw, it's a bit bigger screw. Oh no, I marked it. Shit, I'll have to touch that up later with a magic marker. Yeah, I should be using a little bit bigger screwdriver for that particular screw. If I can put my hands on it, I'd use it. For as cheap as these guns are, they're remarkably well built. Tolerances, of course, they've been making this style handgun for 150 years now. There it comes out. Wipe it down a little bit. Then comes the hammer and this little doobie, which is the cylinder lock mechanism. It goes up in this bolt right here, and once you click it back, it will either lock the cylinder in place or allow it to spin freely. Then you've got this arm here. This is the little spring and arm mechanism that advances the cylinder each time you pull the hammer back. This spring right here is the one spring. If there's a weak spot in this system, based on my research, it's this spring breaking off, but they're obviously pretty easy to replace. Ding, and then you got your hammer, stainless steel. That is how you disassemble a Heritage Rough Rider 22 caliber revolver, but also just about any kind of single action revolver around. It's based on the Colt pattern. It's the way they all come apart.